So, this kind of Kyle Shanahan's replacement, Steve Sarkisian.
Yep.
I don't understand that one at all.
When I saw it, I looked at my computer, I was looking up stuff for work, and it just it goes, this just in, Atlanta hires, and I was like, oh, I better go back and take a look at that. And I looked at it, and I did a double take, and I pondered it for a moment, and the only word that I could say was, wow. Because you talk about things that come out of left field. There's a lot of things that have come out of left field over the years.
And I feel like in this situation, overall the Falcons had an incredible year.
Right.
I think this is a situation where Dan Quinn needs to promote someone.
Right.
I don't have a working knowledge of their assistant coaches and who has the most experience or whatnot, but there's got to be somebody on that coaching staff.
I'm glad you say that because one of the before the Super Bowl, it was either right before the Super Bowl or yesterday, I can't remember which one, but they were talking about how Atlanta's quarterback coach is now trying to get poached by everybody.
Yeah.
He interviewed, I believe it was
that guy.
I think it was McVay wanted to bring him in as his offensive coordinator. Shanahan was trying to take him to San Francisco with him. So obviously this guy has some type of, I believe it was LaFleur.
I want to say he did go to San Fran. I'm not positive.
Because I know Atlanta blocked Shanahan from taking a lot of the assistants. I'm not sure who it was, but like you said, you feel
Matt
like
LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur. Okay, that there had to be somebody in this guy just based on the fact that the Super Bowl just ended and teams are already trying to poach him. That you would feel like Dan Quinn would at least have the sense and knowledge to promote this guy if other teams are going to come calling.
Yep. Shanahan took Mike McDaniel, who will become the wide receivers coach, and QB's coach. Offensive assistant Mike LaFleur is going to join, but QB's coach Matt LaFleur will not. So
Okay.
I don't know if they're brothers or...
That's possible.
Matt LaFleur will be the Rams offensive coordinator.
He did leave for the Rams job.
Yes.
I feel like when you can't... now, if you're the Green Bay Packers, you let him go because obviously Mike McCarthy's running and calling that offense. They did the same thing with the Giants head coach where he kind of knew, I'm not going to be an OC or anything like that as long as McCarthy's here. So they let him walk, which understandably, that's going to be, as long as McCarthy's there, it's going to be McCarthy's doing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
You're talking about Ben McAdoo.
Yes. You just I don't know if he was ever the OC.
No, he was the tight ends coach and then the quarterbacks coach.
And Clements was kind of the OC for a little bit, and Philbin was kind of for a little bit. They had the title, but didn't necessarily.
Well, Tom Clements was offensive coordinator and then became associate head coach because they wanted to promote Edgar Bennett,
right?
Which is understandable,
right? And because the only way teams can take Edgar Bennett now is to make him a head coach.
Yes.
But in a situation like Atlanta's, where your head coach is a defensive-minded guy, you just lose your offensive coordinator. I feel like whoever that top assistant is, you'd want to keep him. Similar to like what Brett, you've been saying this whole offseason, that your biggest fear was that you would end up losing McDaniels and Patricia. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to find really good coordinators like that.
I feel like this is just a situation of Dan Quinn wanted a good play caller. Or an experienced play caller, I should say that. Obviously Kyle Shanahan was calling all the shots on offense, but just switching to Sarkisian, you're putting everything at risk here.
Right, you are. And granted, he's an offensive minded. He was Jake Locker's head coach at Washington. He took over the USC program, but he didn't win at Washington, and he was an absolute wreck at USC. And he coached one game at Alabama, and they lost.
Hey, that's some good experience.
He's called one game since 2008. as an official offensive coordinator. That was the last time he was offensive
but
coordinator.
we don't know if he was the guy calling as the head coach.
Well, at USC, he was probably on something too much to actually...
Well, that's speculation. So,
Right.
We won't get into that.
Right.
But I in USC, I'm sure whether or not he was playing the calls, he had some serious influence on what was being called.
Yeah. It just... This was a decision. You know, there had been some names rumored. I mean, even one of the names that popped up that do you take Steve Sarkisian even over a guy like a Chip Kelly? You know, Chip Kelly.
I'll take Sarkisian.
Chip Kelly was a name that kind of popped up there for a moment. I mean,
with Chip Kelly, you got to buy into his system for it to work.
Right.
And the 49ers didn't want to do that.
Right.
I think Atlanta could be dangerous with that.
I agree, because I think they have the receivers, the quarterback, and the running backs to do so where they don't necessarily need to go slow. Where they could just... Because, I mean, the really only difference between Chip Kelly's system and anybody else's is the tempo. And I think that Atlanta would be dangerous at that tempo because you're not able to sub guys. And when you have wide receivers like they do... Man, that's a mismatch waiting to happen.
Stick with what you're good at.
I agree. If it's not broken, don't break it. But
I gotta.
It's not broken. Don't fix it.
Yeah.
No, don't, but I'm saying I know. But I mean, but if it's not broken, you can't fix it to begin with. So if it's not broken, why break it? Because the only way you can fix it is if it's broken, right?
Okay, yeah, no, you're just trying to cover up your mistake. I get it.
No,